A large storm is rapidly developing in the United States, and it's about to kick off an active stretch of weather that includes a risk of severe storms, an elevated flooding risk, a winter heat wave, and multiple chances of heavy snow next week. This pattern is far from over, and we are talking about at least 3 or 4 different storm systems just over the next 10 days. So right now we have our first storm beginning today, and as it tracks to the east, it will collide with a sharp temperature contrast across the central and southern United States. This setup will support severe weather Friday through Sunday with damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes possible. And folks, if you are traveling through Dallas, Fort Worth, Atlanta, or Charlotte this Valentine's Day weekend, you need to be aware of significant flight delays expected at all 3 airports from the rain and thunderstorms. At the same time, a winter heat wave is building across the central United States with unusually warm air surging north. We are talking temperatures near the 70s by Tuesday of next week in places like Iowa, Nebraska, and back into Illinois. That warmth will enhance the sharp temperature boundary in place, fueling additional storm development next week, and this pattern is far from over as a major snowstorm is expected across the western United States next week. And as that system moves east of the Rockies, it should trigger multiple additional storms, including multiple shots of heavy snow. So in today's forecast, I am going to break down exactly what you need to know about these large storms that will be impacting the United States. Now, we have a lot to talk about in today's forecast, and I want to jump right into these large storms that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 days. And right now, we have a lot of moisture that is coming out of the Pacific Ocean and also out of the Gulf. And this is all going to meet in one place over the next 24 hours, and that is back over in the south central United States. So once we go into Friday and Saturday, we are going to have this large plume of moisture that is going to be all across the southern plains. And this is going to lead to a possibly significant severe weather risk, which will begin tomorrow near Midland, Texas, and then go all the way into East Texas, Louisiana, eventually into Mississippi, Tennessee, and Alabama by late Saturday and into early Sunday. Damaging winds, hail, and possibly even tornadoes is going to be a concern with this storm system. Now, what I want to point out here is this storm is coming through on Valentine's Day weekend, and if you're planning to drive anywhere from Dallas to Houston on Saturday, be very careful. Interstate 35 and Interstate 10 corridors could see flash flooding from the heavy rain, and we're talking 1 to 4 inches of rain, with localized amounts up to 6 inches possible where these storms train over the same locations. So if you have plans to go out Saturday evening, keep a close eye on the radar. Now, on the backside of the low-pressure system, we will have some dry and cool air that will filter in behind this storm system. But one other thing I want to point out is that this storm is going to have so much moisture that we are going to be dealing with days of rainfall from Oklahoma and Texas all the way into the Carolinas. And if this storm takes the right track, we could even see some snowfall across parts of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast once we go into Sunday and early Monday. So this is not necessarily just going to be a large rain and severe weather event. There might be some snow with this. It's not for certain as of right now. Models have been kind of back and forth over the last couple of days, but we'll be keeping an eye on that. We'll talk more about that here in a moment. Now, we're not done after this. We have a lot more storms to come because by next week, we are going to be dealing with a pretty significant atmospheric river event, which is basically going to fuel a lot of moisture over the Rockies and then back into the central United States. And notice this entire area of moisture by Tuesday morning stretching from California into Michigan. And this is where we're going to be watching for several storms to set up, and we could easily see more severe weather, more snowfall, and a lot of other impacts. So we are going to be talking all about this over the next few minutes, but get ready. The weather pattern is going to get very active here over the next 10 days. Now, there will be multiple storms that impact the country over the next 10 days. And the first one arrives tomorrow into Saturday. So we'll have a lot of moisture coming out of the Pacific and then some moisture coming out of the Gulf. And a large area of showers and even snow showers will develop over the Rockies by tomorrow afternoon. And this will eventually turn into a storm system that is going to grow in size rapidly. So by Saturday morning, we will have widespread rainfall from Springfield and Joplin, Missouri, back towards Dallas-Fort Worth and even towards Abilene, where this is going to cause the threat of even some localized flooding. And a lot of these areas have really not seen a whole lot of rain over the last month or two. So this is pretty good news in terms of rainfall for areas experiencing drought conditions. The The zone from Texas to Georgia and the Carolinas has been dealing with everything from adequately moist conditions to exceptional drought, and this storm should provide a thorough soaking, but obviously there will be a flooding risk accompanied with this. Another concern I have is as we go into Saturday afternoon and evening, the storm is going to become a lot more organized, and we are going to have a lot more moisture coming out of the Gulf. So temperatures as well as dew points will be increasing, and at the same time, wind shear will be increasing. So our southwesterly flow in our low levels will be starting to ramp up, and all of this motion that we are going to have is eventually going to lead to the possibility of severe weather, including a risk of tornadoes. I think our main concern for Saturday will be mostly stretching from Dallas-Fort Worth back into Louisiana, even Little Rock, Arkansas, and into Mississippi. Could see some severe storms late Saturday and into early Sunday. And to give you a better idea of the timing of severe weather, this is what it's going to look like by Friday evening. We'll have some storms firing off across West Texas. The main concern will be large hail. We're talking golf ball size hail possible, as most of these storms are going to be elevated in nature and we need surface-based storms for there to be tornadoes. Generally speaking, it is going to be a little bit too dry out here in West Texas for there to be much of a legitimate risk of tornadoes on Friday. Wouldn't rule out an isolated one, but the odds are pretty low. By Saturday morning, we are dealing with widespread rainfall all across the central and southern plains, anywhere from about St. Louis back into Oklahoma City and the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Severe weather won't really be a concern until the mid to late afternoon and early evening. Some storms will begin to form from Dallas back towards Abilene and even near San Angelo. These will be mostly hail and wind producers. There might be a brief tornado risk out of one of those storms, but I think our greater tornado risk will be during the very late afternoon and evening as we will eventually see a line of thunderstorms developing, almost a squall line that'll stretch from South Texas into western Oklahoma, just the south there of Fort Smith. Main concern, it looks like for right now, will be damaging winds, but if we do end up getting any sort of prefrontal supercells out in front of the line of thunderstorms, I definitely wouldn't rule out a more localized and possibly significant tornado risk during the evening hours on Saturday. And then eventually overnight Saturday into early Sunday, this line of storms will continue to push to the east into Mississippi and over towards New Orleans, where a damaging wind risk and even embedded tornadoes in the line could still be a concern. Now let's go back to the broad overview. So Saturday, we'll be talking about a lot of rain in the south-central United States. Early Sunday, this storm will make its way into the Tennessee Valley and the Dixie Alley, where heavy rain will continue. Localized flooding risk will continue as well. Some of these areas like Little Rock and back towards Nashville could see several inches of rain. We are talking maybe 2 to 4 inches and some localized areas around 5 or 6 inches of rain being on the table over the next few days. And if you are in these areas, make sure you've got flashlights and batteries ready just in case. Keep your phone charged. Late Sunday is where things could get a little bit more interesting when it comes to our wintry precipitation because we'll have a large area of rain ongoing in the southeast. But on the north side of the storm system, it might just get cold enough to the point where we could have some snow back over in parts of the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. This is not a slam dunk by any means, and it's very tricky to forecast as the models have continued to go back and forth on showing a lot of snow, showing no snow. Now, the European model here is showing a very small area of snowfall in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and as well as West Virginia. So my confidence right now in terms of there being a winter storm is very low. However, there is definitely some confidence that I have right now that we'll at least see some snowfall Sunday back over in parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Does not look to be anything blockbuster as of right now, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. And then eventually into Monday, we'll have an Alberta clipper that'll try to get close to this storm system. So if it gets close enough, we might see some influence there for more snowfall, but for right now, looks to be a very low-end scenario. And then eventually, as we go into late Monday and Tuesday, we are talking about some major storm systems impacting the western United States. This does apply for those in the Great Plains and anywhere eastbound because these storms will eventually cross over the Rockies. So on Monday, we'll have a lot of snow falling in the higher elevations. And with how much moisture there is going to be, we could have a legit flooding risk from San Diego back towards Seattle during the daytime on Monday and Tuesday. This storm will continue into Tuesday, and then late Tuesday, early Wednesday is when that moisture should get over the Rockies, at least some of it, and it should create a new storm system, and that LL form back over in the northern United States. Models have been very consistent with there being some sort of storm this far to the north. One of the concerns that I have with this storm system isn't necessarily that we are going to probably see that much severe weather, but it has more to do with the temperatures. It's abnormally warm for this time of the year, even back over in the Dakotas, and it is going to get a lot warmer with a low-pressure system this far to the north. It's going to allow for a significant pull of warm and moist air to make its way all the way up into Iowa, Nebraska, and back into Illinois. And these are areas that could have temperatures near the 70s by Tuesday of next week. So we are talking about record-breaking heat potential. That is warmer than most of Florida in February. You would probably be thinking this looks like late April. And the snow would be very far off to the north as well. We are re-talking North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin possibly seeing some heavy snow during the middle of next week. Keep in mind that this is a very normal storm track for the month of October or even November. So this is very odd to see something like this time of the year. And if you are someone who relies on electric heat and you are trying to save money on your heating bills, well, you are going to get a break next week with these unusually warm temperatures. And then right behind this storm system, we will likely see more storm systems form due to the fact we are going to have so much moisture coming over the Rockies. So we should have another big storm sometime during the latter half of next week and into the weekend. So this will not be the only storm. We are talking about at least 3 or 4 different storm systems just over the next 10 days. So again, buckle up, it's going to get active very quickly. Now with a large storm like this, we are going to be talking about a lot of rain, and this is what's happening over the weekend and into the beginning of next week. We are expecting a widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain from Lubbock, Texas, into Nashville, and even Johnson City, Tennessee. There will be plenty of areas that pick up around 2 to 4 inches of rain. That is primarily going to be around Joplin and Springfield back into Shreveport and also near Memphis. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some localized areas much closer to like 5 or 6 inches of rain when this event is all said and done due to how much moisture is going to be across all of the southern United States this weekend. And great news for those out west, we are going to have a ton of snow over the next 7 to 10 days. This will mostly fall between Sunday and Tuesday with feet of snow expected across the Sierra Nevada, Cascades, and the Rockies. If you are in the Sierra Nevada, we are expecting upwards of 80 to 120 inches of snow between now and next weekend. So great news for skiers, great news as well for the water reservoirs that definitely need the water with how little amount of snow that we've seen so far this winter. California's snowpack has been sitting at only 59% of average, and this atmospheric river should help bring those numbers up significantly. This is exactly what California needs after the dry spell we've been experiencing. Now let me talk about the bigger picture here. Over the next 10 to 14 days, we are going to continue to see a very active weather pattern across the United States. This is not going to be a one-and-done situation. We're talking about multiple storm systems that will be impacting different parts of the country with everything from severe weather to heavy rain to significant snowfall. And we will likely continue to see this active pattern well into late February. As always, thank you all so much for watching today's forecast. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any updates on these storm systems. We might even have a live stream this weekend as the severe weather threat develops across the southern United States. Our next video should be tomorrow, where we'll have a much better handle on exactly where that severe weather threat is going to set up on Saturday. Stay weather aware out there, and we will see you in the next forecast.